この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Orb About the Movements episode 17, and it's got a pretty funny title. We're gonna have to figure out how that's gonna play into things as we go. Welcome everyone. I was feeling really under the weather yesterday, so I missed Orb, but I'm feeling okay today, so we're back at it and ready to move the earth. We rotate today, boys. And we rotate into a new era. What a surprise. It shouldn't have been a surprise. It shouldn't have caught me off guard because we've done this before, but it still did. And now we are being introduced to a new world that has changed quite a bit. A cast of characters made up of some familiar and some new. We've got Schmidt and his little organization being led from the shadows by a shadowy figure leader who I have an inkling has to be Yolenta. It's like, that has to be it. I really hope that it is. And on the flip side, we have the Bishop Antony continuing on his quest for power and to drive out hereticism, I think. Mostly power is what it seems to be. Antony seems to be focused very much on what he can get for himself through the church, through this, control of the minds of the population. And I'm curious how that's going to actually express itself. Maybe in violence? I don't know. And he has brought a strange man who's been shown in the OP since the beginning, I think, with a scar across his eye, as his core key witness, somebody who knows something important. And we're going to move onward from there. There's a lot to still frame out about this part of the story, it feels. We got a lot of interesting things, and I'm waiting for them to come together and show us what direction we're heading. It's been really clear cut for a lot of our chunks, even when we time skip and stuff. Once we figure out where these characters stand and where they're moving, it becomes really clear. But I feel like we're missing some piece of that still, and I'm hoping that we get it here in this episode. So, we're going to watch the episode. I've got to draw something. Let me do that first, and then we'll watch it. I'm feeling kind of abstract today. Well, that's strange. It means nothing, as far as I know. I don't know that it says anything either. But I really enjoyed the process of creating that. Setting myself out to just draw, just let my hand carry where it will, to put patterns and lines where they go, just where they end up going, is such a strange form of creativity. So much of the time, you come up with an idea and then strive through your actions to make that idea manifest. And then you're comparing what you actually create with what you had in mind at first. But if you go in with nothing in mind, all you can be is surprised, right? All you can experience coming out of your own fingertips is novelty. And even if you don't end up liking or understanding what you've created, there's something about that willingness to engage with blankness, with emptiness, without direction, that feels really freeing. And it feels like, you know what it feels like? It feels like a rapid shortcut to the flow state. You know, the flow state where you just get into something and you're just in it and you're not really thinking about anything else and you're not analyzing what you're doing. You're just acting, just in the moment. Time is disappearing away. It feels to me like drawing without purpose, except to draw, right? Where the only purpose is to put something on the paper And it doesn't actually matter what it is. I'm not shooting for some goal. I'm not trying to express some particular thing. I don't have an emotion or an object or even an idea or a concept that I'm specifically trying to go for. It's like you plant a seed of creativity and you don't know what the seed is. You don't know what kind of tree or plant will bloom from it. And so you just plant it and nurture it a little bit over the course of like, what, 15, 20 minutes, and something blooms. And this is what has bloomed. And it's weird. It's strange, but it's very me. It's very much like these little lines and stuff. This is the sort of style that I really like doing, which is weird, I think, but I really like it. And as I was going, as I was creating these, it was like, maybe it's a staircase, maybe it's an eye, maybe it's a nautiloid shell, maybe it's the path into the unknown, maybe it's the descent into darkness down this spiral staircase of the universe, of reality. And I'm like thinking about it in context with Orb, and because I don't have something specific that this means, this isn't a staircase, it isn't an eye, it isn't a nautiloid shell, it isn't the golden ratio, it isn't any of those things, and yet it can be all of those things. I feel my mind has opened, and I feel willing and able to engage with this show in a very different way than I would have just 20 minutes ago. Because doing this did something to me. Doing this altered my mental state. And that's part of why I draw before my videos, is because it changes the way that I'm existing, thinking. There's something to opening the tap on your own ability to create that, like, makes room for more consumption. We live in a world where we're bombarded with consumables, right? Whether that's food or drugs or whatever, but media, most of all, media, information, stories, right? Like everywhere, every advertisement, dozens and dozens of shows coming out every season, infinite TikTok, infinite Instagram, infinite scrolling feeds everywhere. All you are asked to do by our machines, by our systems, is consume. And don't worry too much about the rest. But maybe this is just me, but I know that it isn't. Just consuming makes me really anxious. And I don't have like a solid psychological background to tell you why that happens, but it does. When I find myself in a mode where I'm just consuming, I'm just intaking, it's like it piles up and doesn't get completely processed properly. And somehow it really is like filling a bucket and then you tap the bucket on the other side and let some of it out. If I tap the bucket and let some of my creativity flow, there's room in me for more. And I find that hunger in me is reinvigorated. Have you ever gotten burned out watching shows or burned out playing games and you're like, I'm in this loop where I just want to consume more because maybe something more will inspire me, but nothing feels like it's really going in. It's not like there isn't room in me emotionally, psychologically, mentally, there isn't room. And tapping the keg, if you will, and letting some of it out, especially in this sort of an unfiltered, undirected kind of way. Just open. Let it open, let it flow. What comes out comes out. And you're not judging what comes out, because part of the purpose is getting it out of you so that you can make room for more, so that consumption stops being just consumption and it becomes the fuel for the like internal fermentation process that turns it into something delicious that you pour out the other side. And you have to pour something out the other side, otherwise it backs up and gets stuck and gets overwhelmed and overflows. You want to flow and flow and flow, and this helps me flow. Anyway, weird set of thoughts, but I really was thinking about this as I was drawing this thing, this nothing, right? Like, why draw nothing? Why draw a thing that doesn't represent anything in the first place? And sometimes the answer is to show that not represent, to like cut down the pedestal, the pedagogy of art world and all that shit. It's like, no, that's not what it's for me. It's for me. It's for me. It's because I got too much shit in my brain. I need to get some of it out. And when I do, space gets made for more. I'm excited to get more into me, more into my brain, more. And when it comes to the shows that we've been watching recently, Orb has been a continuous inspiration because the themes and ideas present in it are about this, are about being human, having ideas, creating, passing on and taking in information from the past that changes the way that you act, that changes what you put out into the future. And actively, each link in the chain has a causal effect on each future link of the chain. And now we're in a new world investigating and discovering a new link on the chain. And we have to find out what has been passed on and what new comes out, in this next step of our journey. Let's do it. All right, let's roll. I've got Orb episode 17 up and ready to go. There will be 2 versions of this reaction video, picture-in-picture available in the description, timer on YouTube, early access on Patreon, and a beep beep timer to count you down. Let's go. Maybe. Okay, where are we? Oh, it's Kid who's grown up. Kid is now teenager. Kid is unlocking stuff. It's money? Kid is face first in the money. Oh, we got existential dread, and we're trying to shore up the dam of the incoming flood of "you're gonna die, motherfucker" with cash. Yeah, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Okay, what a wild introductory line, because it says so much. I could just pause here. I could just pause here and talk. Not nearly enough to assuage my fear of death. I've already forgotten the exact line. It's really deeply reminiscent of where we started with Oxy, right? He's got this sinking void inside of him, and we'll get more information on it clearly, but sinking void inside. Ah. Cool. Cool. Interesting. Oh, and he saw his parents die too, so that might add to things. But he's going to end up joining up, right? Because we see him in robes. Well, that seems clear-cut. I wonder if it'll be more complicated than I expect. We'll find out. Schmito! Bloody coins. All you get of your father is the money, huh? So money becomes important? Maybe. Duraka! Good name. We living as tribal people? Called him Chief? Whose voice is that? It's a woman. She sounds really familiar. Is Draka female? I was under the impression that this was a young boy. I may be completely wrong. But you're trying to shake things up. Oh, and you're so smart. Oh, you go to abandoned villages, do you? The book. The book is in the desk. The book is in the desk. I'm missing this. I don't know. I might be missing something important. The book is in the desk. What if we were organized? That's cool. I wonder I wonder culturally what these people, like, who these people are supposed to be. This is enough. Don't get too greedy. Ah, we've also had no. Okay, I was gonna say we had no mention of religion. Hmm, that's not a good answer, is it? Hmm, it's the first. We making money. Yeah, what is the money for? Oh, you're piling up. Oh, there's a quote on the back of my brain. Oh, there's Uncle. What was he hiding? Booze? Booze. Uncle? Don't bully an old man. Urgh. This has to be the night before whatever happened with Antony. Individualism versus communalism on the small scale, huh? Got a good reason? Thank you. Yeah, we all work together. Smart. Yeah, if we were a city or a nation. Aw. Hmm. This is cool that we're starting social principles on the like tribe level. It's such a young person's idea. This is really cool. Oh, cool advice from the old man. God, she sounds so familiar. What's calling over that horizon to you, Draka? Is it the beauty of the sun? Why does that trigger something? Uncle. This is after. This is not the dude who killed his brother, right? Not his literal, not your literal uncle. Wait, I might be wrong. It might actually be him. It must be a different guy. Yeah, what is with the sun? Huh. Whoa. She feels like she's not allowed to grieve her father because he's supposedly in a better place. Okay. If these end up being practical, like breathing exercises and such, I'm in love. Holy shit, what? Yeah, it does. Uncle! Uncle! Uncle, have you been traveling in India? Uncle! Hone your mind, turn yourself into the sword of truth. Holy shit! No, turn yourself into the blacksmith who can forge the sword of truth. Holy shit! What's number 3, man? Mmm. No, it's perfect. It's but it's self-expanding in the Hofstadter kind of way. It has a clause that lets it break out of its box. Most thought processes lack that. It's the great ones that have that. It spirals out. Survive even if it breaks my convictions, including this one, right? So will he die for her? Wait, that's a lie. Died out plundering. Maybe I'm wrong and that is true. Maybe I've confused these two characters. Money. Figured it out. Ha 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 ha. How utterly unbadass. Oh, what are we up to, Uncle? Where are you going? Abandoned village. Why? Something hidden? The booze! An egg. Oh, my guy's just having a nice time. All right. Oh, shit. My wine! Just an old man. So he's getting roped into this way. Okay, they are nomadic. I wonder if they're meant to be Romani. Based on that, I'm gonna say maybe. We'll just take it. How about I just kill you and rob you? So it's right now. Haha. Not him. Oh my god. Oh. Ew, Uncle. Uncle. Anthony. Yo, no. Ugh. But other things are happening at the same time. And this is where he says, no worries, I've got somebody better. Because young woman? I didn't have that on my bingo card. I guess we really want to make Anthony super evil. I've sold you. Oh? Does he have something? Or is this a trick? Meet me at... Dude, no. No, no, no. No, you fucking old man. No, no, no. Of course I'm ready. No, what a terrible betrayal. God, and she's already feels empty inside, thinks only money is worthwhile. The house with the drawer with a little book in it? That is where we're going with this, isn't it? Man, she better fucking escape. Chi, indeed. Yeah, there's chi in that house. Feel the energy. Oh, fuck! Yeah, just take a seat at the desk. Huh? Incredible. Incredible. Chapter 3. And it's the answer, too, to the void. But she sees profit. True. True. Just vibes. Yeah, just vibes. But this is anthropological. Personal. The biggest question. Most important thing. Printing press. Printing press. Religion. It answers the void of uncertainty. Wow. She is smart. Yeah, fills the void. An idea so big that it fills any void. God doesn't exist. Mmm. Truth. Truth. Okay, maybe. We can go hedonist with it. If books can be the source of the thing that fills people's hearts and souls, you better print some fucking books. And we're at the opportunity. She's a disruptor. She's a Silicon Valley founder right here. She's going against the status quo for her own profit. Distribution. Scaling production. You need to find out about the printing press, babes. It's out there somewhere. Where's Johann? Or are we gonna build that into our fiction? Unless it's secret. Unless it's no. Oh, I'm just poorly read. No, it's hidden in a drawer in a place. Come on. It's out of time, out of place, out of its author's will. Cause that's his. Yeah, it's dangerous. It's still been transferred down. He's long dead. Fuck. Double, triple fuck. Your new owners. And now you're turned into money. Yep, she realizes. No. Oh, right, he did be saying that. We're ending here. Holy shit on a shingle. I know I keep saying that. What a betrayal. Rough. What a clear-cut character. Motivation blossoming out of fear. Recognized complete fear. I gotta figure out if she really is the person from the previous episode, the one who I thought was the boy who got killed. Because I made that connection. I think I'm wrong. Is this Rafal and Potocki? Oh my god, I love the 10% to Potocki being passed down as like an unknown calling card. Because it traces everything back to Rafal, right? It's like that piece being maintained, even though people don't understand why it's being added into it, is amazing. Point the way. That was great. That was a great introduction to this character. We are pulling together those pieces that hadn't quite coagulated and cohered into something solid yet. We had all these disparate pieces, and they just shoop right together. Getting this direct line window into her fear, her fundamental, like, existential terror right at the beginning of the episode, and then exploring and developing it and explaining it over the course of it. It really reminds me of where we started with Oxy, where we've got, like, a character whose starting point determines their direction, right? And all these things are being done to her by the world, but her direction gets set for us in line one, instant one, directly. It's like, I need money in order to fix my problems. It's like, well, the arc here is that she's going to continue pursuing money, and then she's going to discover that that doesn't solve her problems and something else does. What is that something? And we've sort of answered it. Maybe it's books, but she's still in this mindset of maybe it's books for everybody else, and books are just a source of profit for me, and haven't stepped over that threshold of, like, maybe books are the answer for me too. Maybe the money won't fulfill me. Maybe it won't calm my heart. Whoa. There are so many Christian lines about wealth, the accumulation of wealth as the attempt to assuage the existential fear, right? And it's fascinating how we have this character who's directly 100% against that. It reminds me of aspects of Badeni, most of all, being sort of very solid on a particular idea and unwilling to part with it no matter what. Like, very sort of self-centered, I think would be the right way to phrase it. Very self-centered is Draka. And I like her. I like that about her. I like this idea that she's come to an incorrect conclusion about the way that the world works and is following it wholeheartedly. I think that's great. I think that's a wonderful example in fiction of something very real. You come to conclusions about the way that the world works when you're a child, based on your relations with your parents and your caregivers. And then you apply those conclusions to everything else you do in your life, every other relationship that you have. So if the conclusion is it's all about money, baby, it's all about money. That's wonderful. I think it's so cool. It's so interesting. My father died to bring this money back. Ergo, what matters? Well, what really mattered to the child was having her father there, right? But in the absence of that, I have the money, and apparently this is dad now. Amazing. Amazing. And then the attitude, this pretty disrespectful to the religious aspect of our world attitude that Uncle comes in with, there is no God, there's no evidence for it. And separating yourself from that idea frees you to make more choices than people who are locked into that idea. It's weird to say this, but it reminds me of our starting point with this sort of abstract drawing with no directionality to it, right? There's something so deeply freeing about doing without that precept, without that thing in being important, without couching everything in, does this align with God? Does this align with religion? Does this align? Am I allowed to do all of these things? If you separate yourself from that, then you're free. It's your choices that matter. Your conclusions that matter. Really cool. Flawed, still, because without some guiding principle, you'll do things like betray the practically daughter who deeply trusts you, and that's pretty evil. I think it's evil, right? And we've got this added layer of this old man is like, I'm almost at my time has almost come to an end. Draka, I'm dying, I promise. It's like, okay, so you're going to sacrifice child for dying old man. Selfish bastard. But with no moral compass, no guiding principle, except your own survival, that's where you end up, right? Clear cut. I think really clear cut. But really interesting and fertile soil to bloom bigger trees out of, like to really grow something interesting out of this. I think just the profit motivation is enough to drive Draka to begin distribution. If, big if she survives this run-in with Bishop Antony, now more than Bishop, I think, and his squad of goons who seem like they're going to sell her. Like, is that better or worse? Maybe worse. I don't know. I thought it was at first awful, horrifying for personal pleasure, right? Yeah, churchman, here's a young girl. Great. But then Antony's like, oh, she'll fetch a fair price. He's all about the profit too. Anthony's been all about the profit the whole time too. He's been like, "Oh, you Inquisitors, you cost too much. You're taking too much out of our dang bottom line." Wow. And now he's engaging in slave trade? Jesus, criminy cricket. Okay. Before we dive into the episode, there's one question that haunted me through the entire episode, and that is, who is voicing Draka here? Because she sounds really familiar, so I'm going to go check that now. Huh. So, she's had a bunch of supporting roles. The thing that I've heard her in that is like the biggest role that she's had that I've heard her in is Carol and Tuesday, where she plays Carol. That's the Shinichiro Watanabe girls playing musical instruments on Mars show. It's really cute, and that is a distinct voice, but it's been so long that I don't think that's what I'm thinking that I remember here. I don't remember Carol's voice in Carol and Tuesday. The other credit that I recognize is a little bit weirder. It's Gal Tokyoryu. Gal and Dino. And also, I don't actually recognize her voice from this, but it's funny that she played the main character in Gal and Dino. Gal and Dino is a short, extremely unsettling abstract show. If you want to feel what a fever dream feels like, go watch an episode or two of Gal and Dino. It's like mixed media all the way through. They're like these 5-minute, 3-minute, 5-minute anime shorts about literally a Gyaru, and then a dinosaur shows up and starts living in her house. And that's the whole story. And it's insane, and you should probably watch it. Okay, so Miuri Shimabukuro, I have no idea why I felt like you were so damn familiar, but I think she does a great job with this character in this episode. Let's go through the app. So we start off with, I think, picking the lock to the treasury and lying in all of the copper pieces, lying in all the money. Which is interesting, because then she's like freaked out about the money, and then we have the chief being like, you can take as much as you want out of our treasury, Draka, like, we're a community, you're fine, no worries, dude, and it does nothing for Draka. Draka needs the money in hand, buried in a safe somewhere, like, needs it accessible. And is that the reason that she's focused on this individualism thing? Like each person working for themselves and profiting for themselves instead of communalizing everything? Is that so that Draka has her hands on the cash, on what she's earned directly? It might be. It might be specifically for that. And then the other layer that I think fits into that is that money is everything. Therefore, her focus is on optimizing the money flow inside our little mini society. But she's doing so without an understanding of all the things that make the society work, that make this community function. And she's way overvaluing profit and income over the intangibles, the stuff that's hard to put on a balance sheet, like community and the support that people give to each other and the feeling of working together towards something. Like all of those things don't show up on the balance sheet, so they're easy to dismiss, and then your company falls up, or your business or your tribe falls apart, and you're like, why? All we did was optimize for the thing that we're supposed to optimize for, and you're wrong. And you're wrong. If you try to optimize your business for profit, you will end up not making profit in many cases. Now, that's not true of many big old companies out there. There's such large organizations that they're able to do stuff like that. But on the small scale like this, if you optimize solely for profit, you won't get any customers because they won't care about you, right? If you optimize your village solely for profit, things will fall apart because people will stop doing things for each other, and they'll start intercompeting with each other and being like, no, buy my blanket, don't buy his blanket, buy my blanket, and we'll sell less blankets, and then we'll starve this winter. Really interesting little conundrum here. Bam, into the coins. This is what she worships. I guess I didn't really clock it here, but like it's almost prayer, right? Face first, prostrate on the floor before your God. God is money. It's not enough. It's not nearly enough to cure my fear of death. And I'll say to myself, you have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, you fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself? This is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves, but is not rich toward God. Luke 12. Nearly enough to cure my fear of death. It's so interesting that this has no impact on the fear of death, but she's convinced that it will if I just cross some threshold, if I just make the pile big enough, then I won't be scared. Then I'll be okay. So many people live like this. Nothing cures the fear. Except maybe accepting it. Maybe. Except doing something that doesn't die. Maybe. That's been our answer throughout the show. You die, but the seed that you planted goes on. The fire you started goes on, and you live on in that. Potocki lives on in that, right? He lives on in the message at the end of the book. Rafal lives on through that message. Bedeni and Oxy's names are lost, gone, disappeared, foof, gone to time. They weren't recorded, but their legacy lives on. What they created is still here, and they went to their deaths satisfied with that. The show has said that that's the answer. Will it be for Draka? Maybe not. I don't know. They're all that could be brought back. I gotta go back an episode and figure out what the fuck is going on. Okay, so that's clearly not Uncle. This uncle is not that uncle. I'm pretty sure. This is a different character, isn't it? This isn't Draka. This is... That's Draka. That's Schmidt. This guy, we don't know who this is. I think that boy is this guy. Interesting. Okay, I had a mistaken impression about things, but we're fine now. Draka's not that character. All that could be brought back, and then the sun rises. And it's blinding. So you get that same unwillingness to look that we had in Oxy. That same closing the eyes and turning away. And turning toward drawing up maps. Which tells us that she goes to abandoned villages. We promised to listen. We shouldn't divide profits equally. Instead, those who contribute more should be rewarded. They could get all of it. We'll urge competition. Oh no! So this is her talking about the system that they're currently using, which she also came up with, which is what they're using. Thanks to that, we don't have to rely on stealing or hunting. We've already benefited plenty. So we're already doing great, girl. Like, we're profiting. We're making money. We're not having to steal. We're not doing the shit that got your dad killed. You've solved the problem for our village. It's solved. But she's never satisfied, right? Because it's an endless emptiness. It's an endless void. The void doesn't go away when your whole village is fed, right? It's not hunger. It's something psychological. It's existential. There must be other products or skills that can be more uniform. Holy shit, are we going to get a group of nomads printing books? That would be so sick. We must not be greedy. What you're talking about is pushing it too far, right? There might be retaliation. There might be consequences that we don't foresee. Why do we need more than we have? What we have is a gift from God. You must follow the teachings. Love your neighbor. Why? Because God said so. Duh. It's not enough. Does she mean the money? Because it's the same. It's not nearly enough to, to cure my fear of death. But in this context, he says those are God's teachings, and she says it's not enough. Does she mean that's not enough as an answer? Because that's what I think. You need more money? Here, no problem. You contribute, you can take whatever you need. She might need it to start a printing business. Hey, but why do you need it so desperately? Everything's fine. Peace of mind. What an interesting equation has happened in Draka's head. Money equals peace of mind. Let me introduce the Gramps. He's a liar from moment one that we meet him, but in a good-natured old man kind of way. Oh man, just having his booze. Oh, don't scold me. He's likable. Piece of shit. Belongs to everyone. Oh, don't bully me. I'll soon depart this world. Oh, you've been saying this for years and you haven't died. Well, okay. We could increase profits if we competed, and he's got a really good answer. Yeah, it's possible, but no. Not because it defies God's teachings, but because it defies the setup, right? The systems that keep our tribe together. It's too small for competition. This demonstrates that he has a good head on his shoulders, too. But if we were to grow more in order to create the competition, in order to create more profit, then we'd have more conflict. Much better than to stay small, stay under the radar, stay profitable on the small scale. Such an idea offers no salvation for the weak. Who cares about salvation for the weak? I care about money in my pocket. Yeah, but what about all the other people in the village? She doesn't care. There's no answer for that. Freedom without morals is mere chaos. It's true, right? Without some guiding principle, it's chaos. But what principle? Could I be destined to live my whole life here as I am? And he says, you have conviction and that will show you the way, which is awesome. I think it's really, really good advice here is like, don't sweat it, kid. You're smart. You got a good head on your shoulders and you've got a direction to go. Follow it. She also has a direction that she has to turn away from. There's something a lot like Oxy here where there's a pull. A pull. I wonder if it'll come to a question of why the sun rises, you know? Why does it rise and haunt me every day like this? I don't know. We're a community you can't act on your own. Just do the same thing. You can cry in your tent. It's out of concern. I don't want everyone else to hear me crying, because doing so would be like saying that it's a lie that Father went to heaven. Like God's will was a lie. Like God is bad. And Uncle doesn't put her down for this thought. He teaches her 3 magic spells. So when he said this, I said something because I have a pet love in shows. When shows give characters in context a tool, like a physicalization or an internal mantra or an activity to do to regulate your emotions or a breathing practice, like whatever it is. Strangely, the ones that I come up with immediately are from like Hunter x Hunter. And there are 2. One is the old man breathing and practicing and training every day. And the other is Gon's Jonken punch, right? Where he like gathers all his power and it's really physicalized. And when I see things like that in a show, I think of 8, 10-year-old kids doing that on the playground and, maybe breaking each other's noses accidentally. But like trying these things because they show up and the characters in their media are doing them, trying them on for size, trying meditative breathing or deep breathing, trying certain like stretches or physical exercises or things. I really like things that can be like taken on or taken from a show and applied directly to yourself. And I thought that was what we were going to get here. I thought it was going to be something about calming yourself or something like that. What we actually got was far more interesting. We got a razor cutting through all of the layers of what has been taught, what has been indoctrinated to this guy's actual viewpoint on reality. Right? To say that what he's saying is truth is tough because I don't know. But it is true that it is his viewpoint on reality, and he believes that it will be the most helpful thing to tell Draka, and it is. It takes her down a tough direction that I don't think is going to get her where she wants to go, and I would say because of that, it's wrong. Like, her idea is wrong because it's not going to get her where she wants to go, and I think that's definitional to what a wrong idea means. Your principle on life is that money is the only thing that matters. Okay, let's play that out. If you follow that through and get to the end of your life and you've pursued money wholeheartedly through the whole thing, did it work? Do you feel fulfilled? Is your existential dread gone? Are you cured? Did it work? The answer is going to be no. I think we can tell that from the outset based on the framing of the show. It's like, this thing that Draka is pursuing will never fulfill her. It's empty calories, or like it's popcorn. It's not food, right? She's looking for soul food, but she's in desperate need of soul food, but she's trying to build up a stockpile of bread alone. Man does not exist by bread alone, right? So instead he gives her these ideas, hoping to cut through, to give to her his attitude, the one that has allowed him to survive. Conniving motherfucker. Oh shit. These 3 spells will cure your worries. Doesn't that go against God's teachings? Well, I wouldn't worry about that. He doesn't exist. Huh? There's actually no evidence. You could say that not knowing for sure is what makes us believers. This is really an interesting phrasing, because he calls himself a believer still, right? He says, first, it's really a shattery phrase, God doesn't exist, but then he kind of backpedals. There's no evidence that God exists, and it's that lack of knowledge that makes us believers. But choosing not to believe gives you more choices, and that's advantageous. So don't concern yourself with God. Don't let God take certain things from you. This is a really interesting one. It's really interesting. Don't let God take certain things from you. Yesterday, or 2 days ago, I watched a Mob Psycho episode. We had a long conversation about mind control, right? Brainwashing, essentially. And there's a powerful character who's setting himself up to be something like a god by brainwashing a huge number of people and effectively forcing them to worship him, or instilling into them the idea that he is God and should be worshipped. Then he claims, I'm not actually controlling their minds. I'm not forcing them to do that. They want to do it on their own because they believe that the divine tree, me, is God. Right? But I implanted that idea in their heads. And now that idea takes up all the space that could be their own motivations for going and doing various things. They all hit the wall that is, yeah, but the divine tree is God. I should probably go worship that. And so they do. So their belief instilled into them against their consent determines their behavior and forces them to do certain things and not to do certain other things. So the idea of God takes certain freedoms away from you. So don't let God take away your control of your emotions and your reason to live. Powerful, powerful idea. The idea that the idea of God can take things away from you by like taking up the space that they would fill is really cool. Instead, believe that your pain is the world's pain. Not sure on this one. It's very Christian as an idea, but I'm not sure how to sink my teeth into it. So starting tomorrow, don't hesitate to be sad in front of the others. If you understand, I'll move on to the second. I don't understand that last clause here. Your pain is the world's pain, so don't hesitate to show it to the world. Interesting. I'm not sure how to read it. Second, think. Learn everything you can. Not for showing off, but so that you can think. So that you can form connections. So that you can alchemize information broad into knowledge that's useful. So that you can extract from it utility. That process, thinking, is where the truth lies. Very good. Very good. The truth? Yes, the truth. And with that, you'll have the courage to stand your ground and the will to leap forward. If you continue thinking in a world with no God, then one day the third spell will naturally reveal itself. Conviction. So the thoughts that you have outside of the pressure of a deity will lead you to a conclusion that you truly believe in, and following that is the third spell. It sets your path, and that allows you to conquer your fear and stop crying. And mine is to survive even if it means abandoning my convictions. Okay, there's something I really like about this and something that's very dangerous about it. What I like about it is that it's self-expanding. My conviction is X, even if it means getting rid of this whole sentence. It's self-referential. In computer programming, we would call this recursive. It's close enough. The equation takes itself as an input and alters itself every iteration, right? So I'm happy to abandon my conviction about surviving, even if it means abandoning my convictions, including this one about surviving. It would be really cool if that comes around and he actually sacrifices himself sometime in the future and abandons this conviction. That would be very, very cool. That would be like what I would be desperate for from this piece of writing. If I were writing this, I would be unable to make him just survive based on his convictions and never stop. I would have to have him change this. But maybe he won't. And maybe that's the lesson here, is that if you listen to somebody and their conviction is betray anybody in order to survive, maybe don't trust them. Maybe don't fucking trust them. But it's really interesting. Isn't that a little weird? Yeah, I mean, it's contradictions. But hey, a magic spell. So stay in your tent starting tomorrow. So she thinks. She thinks by the river. She thinks. She applies herself to this idea. And what she comes to as a conclusion: Dad went out to plunder, to make money. All that came back is the money. So, why did Father die? For the money. We survived because of money. And if we had more, he wouldn't have had to do that. If we had more, everything would be fine. People wouldn't have to die. So without it, unhappiness. With it, the opposite? Well, it's better than without it. Bingo. Strength equals money. I have to earn money until the fear is gone from my heart. If we had more money, he wouldn't have needed to take that risk and die prematurely, but he still would have died. And so will you. Having the money doesn't extend your life, doesn't prevent you from dying, right? So you just kick the can down the road. You're just pushing it back years and years. You don't have to worry about the bus hitting you today. Nice. Good. But what about 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 50 years from now? You're still going to die. It's an inevitability. I think that's the place where the chain of logic is the most fragile here. But there are others. The whole thing is pretty fragile, but in a way that it feels really solid. When it's all that you have. When it's all that Draka has. It's really solid. That was Father's message. That's my conviction. And she stands up in a beautiful scene and steps away, steps forward with it. I have to earn money. Old man goes sneaking, finds his little hidden cellar wine stash. I actually love this. I think it's really cute that the old guy's got his stash of wine and he goes and he reads a book for a while. It's like the most wholesome thing. Totally wholesome. And then he runs into Antony. A nomad, vulgar scum. So let's just mention this really quick. There's a group of people. There are multiple actually, but the most known, the one that I'm going to guess is what we're working with here, is the Romani peoples throughout Europe, who have been ostracized and killed and treated really badly for a long, long time because they kind of don't fit into cultural norms and social hierarchies, and people treat them really badly because of that. It would be so cool if the thing that takes down the establishment comes from that fringe, or has filtered from the establishment, but out to the fringe, and it's there where it solidifies and comes back and totally wipes out the strength at the center. I think that would be really it'd be on key. Arrest him. Oh, wait, but I'll give you all my stuff. Yeah, okay, cool. Arrest him. God damn it. God damn it. But then I love how this plays out because we've already seen the scene, right? We just didn't see this part of it. So now we have action on multiple fronts. The dudes, the group, the interactions, all the things. Bam, 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 bam. I think it's really cool. So we know that the book is getting slipped into there. We know that Schmidt and those guys are running into the others and killing them. It's all happening there. Wait, but I'll give you something better than an old man who's useless. What about a pretty girl? Heh heh. Fucking asshole. No worries, this guy's worth a lot more. Whack. He's more interested in the profit from a girl than he is in pursuing the heretics that he's pursuing. Ugh. So now I'm going to entrust you with something. He says my time is at hand again. But now that I'm thinking about it, he's really fucking lying. It will change your fate. We frame him in glowing light, which in any other context, in any other show, would feel like wholesome and like kind of welcoming. Like, wow, this guy's leading me into the light. That's awesome. But the only time that we use this framing is when asshole priests are telling people that they're worthless and that God's existence means that Earth sucks. That's what we use this sort of backlighting for, is priest dude being like, well, actually, we're at the pit at the bottom of reality, and heaven is so far away from us that we'll never reach anything good in our lifetime, so fuck it. I'm ready! She's so enthusiastic, and he knows he's got her. Fucking asshole. There's something about betrayal, man. There's a reason that it's the lowest pit, the lowest layer of the hells in the inferno. Like, there's a reason. Ah, man. I think she'll forgive him. In a weird way. Maybe not. Maybe I wouldn't. But she's so, like, Bedeni aligned with this, like, directed focus that I have a weird feeling that she would respect Uncle's self-centeredness and his conviction to his damned convictions. Stupid and evil as they are, it's like, well, at least he's consistent. But I don't think so. Fuck you, old man. I hope he gets executed too. Right? Like, anyway. That's the kind of thing Antony would do, just like with the wine. It's like, okay, cool. You gave me everything that I wanted. I also want your blood. I'm just gonna go wait over here for a bit. Oh, okay, cool. The fact that she sees and says, Chi. Chi? Yeah, baby. There's blood in that house. There's Chi, too. So fucking cool. And bringing up the title right here as the book is discovered is so fucking cool. We get to hear a couple of the lines too for the first time. Humankind shall be freed. She reads the entire 60 pages, as far as I can tell. We phased through it. What the hell did I just read? This is incredible. But the writing's simplistic. It's not theory. It's about the cultural impact. Wow, 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 wow. And then it ends by praising God. And what I sense right now is a bigger question. We show it fuzzy, this light. And there's the sense it's like, maybe she's going to be like, the bigger question is maybe there's truth out there. No, maybe I could make a bunch of fucking money. What does it mean to be accepted? Why do people accept something like God? Fear. Her own answer, right? The same thing that drives her, she's able to extend and analyze other people and be like, that might be why they're doing that. Whatever they're afraid of, that uncertainty, they turn to God. Because God is an idea that's infinite, and thus it can fill any void, right? Hypothetically, you have an endless void in you for spiritual hunger, for a need for belief, for understanding, for purpose. So we create something that's big enough to fit. And the only thing that could be big enough to fit infinity is infinity. So we need an infinitely large puzzle piece to fit our infinitely large puzzle piece and for them to click together. Brilliant. And I think right on. I think right on. We're still in this really critical of Christianity space that I can't help but think of Nietzsche. I can't help but think of the thinkers of that time who were focused on answering questions like these. Like, why is it that we need so desperately for something like God? Why have we created this thing? Why does it exist as a human idea? And her answer is, as an antidote to fear. An endless fear needs an endless cure, an endless solution, and God is that. But Uncle said there is no God. So why does everybody choose God? Maybe it's the only thing on the supermarket shelf. Maybe you're hungry, you're starving. You go into the market and all that's on every shelf is God in different forms, flavors, and varieties. Fill your belly. You're going to eat something. If you're a heretic, you get cast out. You're not allowed into the supermarket, right? Go starve out there, or worse, get killed. Can't go that way. So what do you fill your belly with? What's on the shelf? So what if we could put something else on the shelf? What if we could compete? What if we could disrupt the industry? What if we could make what if we could do food delivery? What if we could, right? She really is like a Silicon Valley disruptor. It's really funny. I spent some time working in like tech startup land for a little bit, and this kind of attitude of like, oh man, they're so convinced that this is the only way that it could be. How could we profit in this world is right on. What if something more certain could soothe fear? And the answer she comes to is pleasure. And then the source of pleasure that she comes to is books. Maybe accessible pleasure will give us excitement. And if books could be that source, maybe I could make a lot of money with this book because this book is exciting. This book gives me pleasure. It frees me a little bit from that fear. Maybe. And the church is kind of fucking up right now. People are already pulling away. The church is really dominating. So what if you can fundamentally change the way people think with a book and get it accepted and profit off of it? The content, the wavering authority. What else do we need? Production. I need a workforce and I need tools. Too much time, too much effort. Need something else, some technique. It's the printing press. But maybe, maybe everybody already knows about this book and I just don't. Maybe I've just gotten overcome by something stupid. But who wrote it? And she goes over, reveals the Potocki thing. God damn. And his address. God damn. Maybe we can connect it back, man. Maybe we can connect it back, man. Bam. Something interesting. And she delivers the booklet directly into the hands of Bishop Antony, who doesn't even know what he's looking at. Huh. This is what you meant. Forgive me, I'll do anything to survive. Well, he does follow his convictions, you can say that. This is such a cool setup. I like her. I like her rebelliousness. I like her wrongness. It's real, man. It's real, man. It's like, how many people who are like 16 to 20, call it 16 to 25, are completely convinced that this is their direction in life and it's all that matters, and that they've seen everything in the world and know all that there is that matters. Safety, security, profit as an easy one, right? I think a huge number of people fall into traps like this, like hers. And so I think showing us in story how she evolves will be really valuable, really powerful for finding like truthy purpose that actually fulfills, instead of these various band-aids, these various stopgaps. What did I say when we first saw the money? She's trying to pile up and shore up the dam against the flood of existential dread with cash. And it won't work. It'll never work. Because all the money in the world doesn't come with you when you die. And it doesn't prevent you from dying in the first place. And that's her fundamental starting point misunderstanding, which makes perfect sense as a child. If dad left to get money and he died because of it, then if only we had the money, dad wouldn't have died. And for a child, that logic is 100% right. If only there were enough money, this great suffering, and by extension, all suffering, wouldn't happen. I think you see this to a lesser extent in kids who get semi-abandoned by workaholic parents. The kid comes to the conclusion that the thing that's valuable in life is not connection with other people or connection with their family, even though they're desperate for it. It's the void, right? It's the hole inside of them is my dad's never around, my parents are never around, I'm not being treated with love, I'm not being like included. So why? Well, this world is harsh, and if you're not struggling desperately and working for profit all the time, you're failing. So the kid repeats the cycle, ends up totally focused on profit and wealth, workaholism, because that's what their parent did. And that's what instilled them with the idea that that's more important than they are. The work and the profit, the benefit to the company is more important than me to my father, so it's more important to me than me to me. It's something like that. It's really familiar and such a strangely universal idea, universal struggle, misattributing value, real worth to coin, to numbers on a balance sheet, to the size of the box that you live in, right? It's like, how big a box do you actually need? Will a bigger box make you less afraid of death? Or will it just be more for you to manage, more for you to deal with, more staff to pay to clean it all? Do you need a bigger box? Do you need a bigger number on your balance sheet? Up to a certain point, yes. Because if you don't have that, you're dead. Our world is harsh that way. Beyond that point, as far as I know, the studies are pretty clear that, like, up to a certain point, money buys happiness, or more accurately, it buys you out of a complete lack of freedom, right? It buys you out of unhappiness because there are lots of things that happen when you're under a certain income where you're just fucked. But past a certain point, like a little buffer, a little bit of room for error, the money stops having an impact and people's quality of life starts declining, or at least staying stable. But I think that Draka would never feel that. She would always think, if I just earned a little more, I'd be a little closer, right? It'll always equate to more stability. More money always is going to be better for me. But it's not. I think it's a really real, very relevant struggle. I'm really curious to see what it evolves into. It's going to, it seems, be the starting motivational point for Draka to begin producing this book at scale. But will it evolve beyond where it is currently as a profit motive to being something more ephemeral, more spiritual, more purposeful, something that actually fills the void? I hope so for her sake. And I hope that it's expressed really effectively to us for our sake. And that we can really learn something powerful from this next chunk of orb. It's got everything that it needs as far as a setup goes. So it's just on the execution. And hopefully not the execution of Draka. Maybe execution of Old Man. And maybe be okay with that. Okay, I think we're going to wrap there for the episode. I really like where we're going with this. I'm really curious to see how it evolves. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Orb. I'll catch you next week for the next one. It'll be a little early on the Patreon, or I'll see you right here next time. Thanks for watching. Much love. Peace.